We're back. Maniaco podcast, episode 2.
Yep, here we are, back again. And this time, I want to talk a little bit more in a more structured way. So I came up with a topic, and I'm going to introduce it to you. And that's going to be the most significant things we've learned through the years of bodybuilding and fitness. Things that you thought you knew, but that shifted through the years. Maybe continue to shift. So I wanted to start us out with one thing, which I think we can both agree on, which is that not one supplement is going to make the difference in us, right? There's not going to be a single supplement that we take, or even a few supplements combined that we take, that are going to be the difference maker in our physique if we don't have the eating and the cardio and the lifting down.
Yeah, but even if we do have the cardio and lifting down, how do we know these supplements have done anything?
Well, I think that as you get more further advanced in your body and more mature with it, and the closer you are to being, let's say, satisfied with it, then when you add something, you'll be able to tell if it's making a difference, right?
Give me an example.
So you are very, very low body fat, big muscle, low body fat, and so therefore you decide to, let's say, take some dandelion root extract so that you can get excess water out, so that you can be a little tighter for the day of a show, or the day you're going out somewhere to show your physique off. Do you think that makes a difference?
I don't know. I really don't. I like the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the ingredient. I like what it looks like on paper. I've been on creatine for dang near 10 years. I can't confidently say 10 years after that it does anything. That's the God's honest truth. I cannot confidently say, in my personal experience, that I know what creatine has done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now other people swear by it.
So is that why you continue to take it then?
Other
people swear by it?
I don't know why. I've actually changed my regimen with creatine. So I was taking it like every day religiously, every day. Now I just take it and I throw it in my pre-workout. So like days I don't train, I don't even take it. Because I figured I got enough saturated in my body if it does. I take it as a just in case.
Right.
It's like just in case the science is tried and true with this supplement. For me, it's the cognitive benefits and the muscle gains. It's worth having in because it seems harmless and so cheap and flavorless and everything. So I'm like, I might as well just throw it in the pre-workout.
Mm-hmm. I don't take creatine anymore. I mean, I haven't been on it for months and
Why?
months. Because the way that I see creatine is its function is to hold water in your muscle cells. And so therefore, especially in the summertime, I don't want any excess water in me. So I definitely don't take it during the summertime. If I'm going to take it, it's going to be in the times where I'm trying to get a little bigger and not as caring about, how tight I am. I mean, I always care how tight I am, but definitely in the times in which I know that I'm going to be wanting to especially be tight, I don't want creatine in me.
I feel you. I've seen some interesting videos about it where people were pointing out that, like, this dude had a client, and the client got on creatine, and the client wanted to lose, to get shredded. And he wasn't going down on the scale because of the creatine. But the trainer or the coach pointed out, just because you're not going down on the scale doesn't mean you're not still losing the body fat you want to lose.
No
you're
doubt.
still... So the scale is one thing, but you're still doing what you want to do. He pointed out, he goes, my client's not here to lose weight. He's here to lose fat. And
Right.
so the creatine wasn't halting that. So it was
If
a
any,
different
creatine
perspective.
could actually help
Right.
with the fat loss potentially.
Yeah.
But it does hold on to some water, so at the time where you're trying to be as dry as possible, it's not a bad idea to get rid of the creatine from what I've, I've gone through and understood.
Supplementation comes with a level of trust. There's two kind of supplements to me, like that I categorize in my brain at this point. There's those subs you take and you either feel right away and you know they're working. Pre-workout, fat burner, you know what they're doing. You can talk about your experience, sleep supplements, pump formula, whatever. Those, I could tell you confidently this did something or this didn't.
Right.
Then there's the others, like we're talking about, where you just have a level of trust. Multivitamins, whatever the heck it is, that it's just hoping it's EAAs. You're hoping they're doing their job, theoretically.
Think there are ways in which we could test out if we are seeing progress with it, if we wanted to be scientific experiments and be more systematic. This year I'm going to not take creatine. I'm going to do this workout regimen. Next year I'm going to do it. I mean, we would have to be, really dedicated to finding out the answer.
It'd be a mission.
And so therefore you hopefully trust some of the studies that are out there to say, well, we've done these things with this group of people versus this group of people, and these are the results. So you're right. I agree that there's definitely not a... to put all your faith in the supplement.
It's always last, the supplement.
No doubt.
A supplement is to supplement something you're lacking.
Now, something like, for instance, vitamin D, which a lot of us are deficient in.
You could get blood work to tell.
You could get blood work to tell, and you can pop, 5,000 IUs, and it definitely can make a big difference.
That's why it's more beneficial to get that specific vitamin that's well dosed instead of some multi with small dosages of a million things. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I don't take any multivitamins.
I do right now because I get it from Transparent Labs, but again, I don't know it's doing a dang thing. But
I also realize, and this is something else that I've learned along the way, or I think that I've learned along the way. I guess it's prone to shift back, maybe. But that the amount of calories is not as important as the quality of those calories and what they're made of.
That's a huge one.
And I think that that's really important for people to know. Even when they're trying to lose weight, I think it's important that people focus more on quality than they are on quantity.
100% crucial, dude. I was watching freaking Sadiq Hadzovic, and he said exactly what I was thinking at that moment. It was crazy. He was like, I'm in a big surplus, I'm eating spot on clean, and the weight's just falling off me. And I was like, yeah. It's freaking, people don't realize calories and health are not the same thing.
No.
People prioritize calories, but they'll get these companies that send them these bars and these freaking foods. And we know people in the family who've done these weight loss and I get it, it's healthy to lose weight, but if you're not conscious about the chemicals and the stuff you're consuming, then calories only mean so much.
Yeah. And you can, to another degree, even if you are eating clean, the type of macronutrients that you have are also important, right? So if I'm trying to lose weight, for me, what I've seen, and this is another thing that I've learned, is that my body's going to be different than somebody else's, but a lot of trends are similar. So carbs are going to hold on to water a lot of the time. And let's say that I do have this mission in my head for whatever reason to see the scale go down, to see my weight on the scale go down. I know that it's going to be more beneficial for me, at least, to have higher protein, higher fat, and lower my carbs if I'm going to want the next day for my body to be at a lower weight. Because I know that lowering the carbohydrates and raising, let's say, the fat instead is going to help me rid and shed some water, at least along the way. Quickly. Yes, I'm not saying for fat loss. I mean, if you do that long term, I do think that fat loss is going to be great too. But yeah, if you're trying to do something quickly, then there are some quick fixes that you
Yeah,
can
there's
make in
some.
your
I
diet.
mean, dude, it's all about like it's the illusion of the physique. There's a lot of hacks and stuff to manipulate the body
Oh, yeah.
quickly, water manipulation and stuff like that. Another thing that I what's a man if he can't change his ideology, right? Dude, I went around for years saying that Beverly International is the only supplements that are worth it. Everything else is junk. Dude, I had no freaking clue what I was talking about.
But let me go into something and a reason why you thought that. And this is something, again, learned along the way, right? That somebody who comes off as an authority
Yeah.
isn't always right and doesn't have every correct answer.
No, it's true.
And that when you conduct yourself in a confident way, you come off as the all-knowing, but you're not.
No,
And it's
true.
okay for you to look at other sources for you to understand, who is it that I want to believe, who is it that I want to follow their way of doing things, But when you find that person who maybe they look very good, so therefore they come off as the person who's all-knowing to you. Well, is that all it takes?
Right.
They should be able to explain themselves a little more other than just being that good-looking person, because I think that somebody once told you, like, look at me and look at you. Now who are you going to listen to and why are you questioning me?
Someone said that to me?
I think somebody said that to you. And I don't think that that's, it's a strong statement and it's a confident statement, but it's shown to be kind of like, as you said, now that you've learned Beverly isn't the only game in town, many years ago you learned that, I think you can question the confidence that somebody has when they bring that kind of information to you.
I just think it's very important to be open to changing your ideology. I freaking tell people on my channel all the time. I'm like, dude, hopefully the stuff you see me saying in 2 years is different than what I'm saying I do today. Hopefully I've grown and said that what I'm doing today is silly or whatever. Hopefully I can be open-minded enough where my regimen gets tweaked and changed, where I'm not stuck in my freaking ideology just being stubborn or hard-headed.
And it's okay.
Not to admit I was wrong about something.
It's okay to have the thing that you're super hyped about right now, right? You love Papa Steve's protein bars, right?
Love 'em.
But if something came along that you liked more, it's okay for you to say, you know what, I love these. I thought that they were the one and only, that they were the best thing in town. And now I'm open to being able to change something because I'm not going to let my ego stop me from doing what would actually be better for myself, which is changing things around.
I recently, another example, I made a video freaking a year and a half ago, like 10 supplements that are a total waste of money. Kind of. One of them was hydration supplements. Now, dude, I use Transparent Labs Hydrate freaking every day. Right. I freaking love it, dude. Yeah. I was like, what was I missing? Yeah. This is so enjoyable. Right. And honestly, one of the things I'm changing in my ideology right now, speaking of that Transparent Lab, that I'm trying not to be as scared of sodium as I freaking was.
Because so you're allowing yourself to have some additives on your meals and whatnot, right?
A little, yeah, like the Primal Kitchen. It's got it's no artificial sweetener. Not that I steer
like a
away
sauce,
from.
Right?
It's a sauce. It's got like 15 calories or whatever, and you can put it on like plain chicken breast.
Yeah.
Whatever. So.
And people need that kind of stuff in order to stay on. I mean, I know that we talk about discipline and don't worry about, the taste and all that, and that's easy for us to say, but. Especially the beginner, I mean, they need something that's going to give them some sort of satisfaction in their meals. And so if that's going to include a little bit of sodium, like from a clean source like that, let it be.
But it's more than that, though, because it's not just about falling off. Because for me, I don't think I'd fall off if it weren't for that. For me, it's like this. I'm drinking a lot of water. Like a gallon and a half a day. Like, I think my body puts a little sodium to good use. Some electrolytes. I'm flushing out all my freaking electrolytes constantly when I'm slamming water and literally pissing clear like all day.
Right.
So I'm trying to be open-minded about maybe my body will put some of this stuff to good use that I once thought was like a no-no completely.
Right.
And part of that is staying out of your dang head, you know, because the head's so crazy, it makes you think it gets in the way of your gains a lot of times,
Yeah.
you know,
No
it
doubt.
gets in the way. So yeah, so just being open-minded to changing your ideology is so crucial, dude.
For sure. Something that I was also thinking about, you know, I think that a lot of people when they start lifting, where they have the idea of getting, you know, super into their fitness and their physique and all that, they have this idea that everybody's thinking about them in a way, you know, looking at their body and complimenting it. And sometimes, you know, when you make it yourself a social media presence, it is. But usually in your day-to-day life, we think, oh, man, if I just had this body, I'd be a lot happier. If I had this kind of physique, I'd get these women. And it's like, what I've realized, first of all, is that women really, in general, do not care about what your body looks like. I mean, they do not.
So I'll say this. Number one, I got way more women when I was a sucked up drug addict than I did since I've had any muscle and being sober.
Right.
But I agree with you. I don't think women in general, I can't speak for them, but I don't think they definitely, in general, I don't think they care that much about muscle or physique. Most of them, maybe some of them.
Sure, some of them for sure will.
But what women like is confidence.
Yes.
And a lot of times having a nice physique gives somebody confidence. So it's not an actual physique, it's, you know, the confidence that comes with
Absolutely.
it. And higher testosterone and hormone, you know, all that. Women sense that. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving forward, one thing that I used to think about a lot, and I think it's because I was wanting to criticize other people in a lot of ways. It was something that helped me, you know, feel better about myself.
What's that?
Is like, let's say when I was at the gym, looking at other people and pointing out their form and saying, you know, oh, he's doing that wrong, or he's swinging, or he's not doing full reps, or this or that.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's not. Stop worrying. First of all, stop worrying about what other people are doing. That's one. That's a big one. But stop thinking about the little things that don't matter that much.
Oh.
In
No.
terms
Go.
of
Go.
get that
Go.
dog out of here.
Go.
She's a killer, this one. Don't act like a robot when you're lifting, because we're not robots.
Correct.
And so when you know, are looking at the form that you should be doing a bicep curl with, or this or that, yeah, there are probably wrong ways of doing something, but there's not just one right way either, right? And so there's a difference between the two. There's not just one right way to do a particular lift. There might be some very wrong ways that are definitely going to make you very prone to injury. Like on deadlifts, like, you better be tight about it. That's one that you don't want to give as much wiggle room on your form. But something like a bicep curl, yeah, you could swing out of control, but, you know, if you're trying to measure by the centimeter how high you're going, you're doing way too much thinking and not enough pumping, right?
There's a few accounts that I follow on Instagram for whatever reason. And I'll be scrolling, and I always see the same videos start with, don't lift like this, don't do this like this. Right. And I think to myself, everyone's got their own relationship with their muscle. Yeah. The way this guy likes to lift might not be the way I feel the tension on the muscle. My body might be different than his, my stature, my height. I have my own I feel my muscle activated when I do things a certain way. And again, maybe that'll change, you know, as I grow and evolve. But you got to lift the way you enjoy lifting. That makes it so you don't fall off. If you don't go to the gym and enjoy what you're doing, I see other videos that say, don't do this exercise. This is, you know, if it's behind the head or whatever the heck it is. It's like, dude, well, if you enjoy that exercise...
Well, not only that, not only if you enjoy it, if you are flexible enough to do certain things, you might be more flexible. You know, certain behind the head exercises aren't necessarily good for somebody who's super tight in the shoulders, But if you're good and you have that flexibility to be able to do it, do it. There's not this, again, it comes back to there's not this one size fits all model, and there's not one right way to do things. So when somebody says, oh, never do that, it's like, first of all, have they even evaluated you and your abilities and your flexibilities or this or that? Or are they just saying that because that's a rule that somebody told them, and so they're passing that information down? And we get generational information that comes down, and we don't question it. And this goes, we can go on many worldly topics here, but sticking to the fitness stuff, that happens all the time.
Dude, I see Olympian freaking athletes, and I used to watch them lift. I'd be like, man, he just looks like junk lifting.
Yeah.
You look at that foot, he's just not even doing right. You know, if he lowered the weight and I'm like, who the heck
Right.
am I?
Why was I criticizing
Yeah, it's
that
like it's
person?
crazy in my head. You know, it's like you gotta pump iron, man, the way you freaking follow your heart and enjoy it and vibe with. Like, I've never been a dude who goes in the gym and writes down all his freaking sets and reps, and nothing wrong with that, but that's never been. I just like to float through the workout, enjoy the music, and just catch the buzz while I'm pumping iron, like chasing the pump and all that.
In a way, I could see that if you write things down, let's say, if your goal is to increase your strength, and you write down on 1 week on your leg day that you squatted 8 reps at 225, and that, therefore, if your goal is to increase your strength, that you know that regardless of what energy you feel in the moment and what strength you think you have the next week, that you are forcing yourself to increase that weight because you've written it down and you've made this decision that you are going to be increasing week by week. If that keeps you accountable, I can see why that could be beneficial.
I don't think anything's wrong with it. It's just not the way I've lifted. I think
No, me
everything.
either.
I think everything has pros and cons. I think the pros of that are the gains in the strength you'll make. The cons of that is that it kind of takes you away from just like the flow of enjoying the training because you're doing a lot of thinking.
Right.
You know, I think everything has pros and cons.
Yeah.
You know, there's benefits to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's what your priorities are.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I tell people, like, no matter what split you do, no matter what freaking rep range, this and that, you will make gains if you're consistent.
absolutely.
You will freaking make gains if you stay on.
How about on the other side of that? You will not make gains if you're not consistent. I mean,
That's
it's
true.
a really important thing to note. It's like you can, if you're only, eating clean twice a week, if you're only lifting, when you have time, once every other day or something like that, your gains are going to be very limited, if any.
Yeah.
And so don't expect, don't hold those high expectations because you're just setting yourself up for failure at that point. So you need to be dedicated to a consistent regimen.
It's the most important part of all of it.
Yes.
It is you gotta freaking find whatever works for you so you do not fall off. That is the most crucial. I don't care what split this guy told you on the internet's the best. I don't care what freaking rep range. I don't care which exercise.
What form of cardio is the best for you?
None of it.
When you start asking yourself what's the best, and that's all you're doing for your fitness instead of actually going and doing, then you're too in your head and you're not making enough action and you're doing too much thinking.
Because the problem is, 100,000 fitness people will tell you what the best is, and they all look good because they were all consistent with whatever the heck they did. You will freaking make gains if you're consistent.
Yes.
Which is the hardest part of all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, finding the way so you do not fall off is the biggest thing.
I think that goes to my next, thought and idea of what I've learned, which is that things will always come up that are going to challenge your ability to, let's say, stay consistent.
All right.
They're gonna challenge it. It doesn't mean they're gonna take you away from it. Actually, taking you away from it is a decision that you make. You make the decision if you're going to choose that thing over the other thing. Sometimes there's not going to be any choice, right? If there's a bad accident and you know,
I had my
somebody
brain
you
injury.
know, you had a brain injury. That, well, you shouldn't have stopped lifting from that. I think that was a bitch move on your part. But I would have kept lifting if I were you.
I wasn't off too long.
No, you weren't. You got back pretty quickly, actually. But yeah, things will absolutely come in the way, and how determined you are is really going to show, because things come in your way, and you're either going to allow them to sidetrack you and deter you, or you're going to say, you know what, I'm either going to prioritize this over that, or, okay, I'll take this day off, but I'm not going to be taking these next days off. You're going to make it right, in other words. Some people, I think, wait. They look for the excuse. They look for the reason to say, you know what, I didn't want to go to the gym. I'm so glad that I mean, this isn't a conscious thought necessarily, but I'm so glad that this thing came up, because now I have a good reason to not, you know, go work out. People love that. I get it through clients often, through personal training clients, you know. Are you sure you want to work on your birthday? And I say, yeah, I'm sure. Are you sure that you want me to work on my birthday?
Oh, they're hoping you would say.
They're hoping that we can take off that day, because, you know, and I think that that comes from a good place. They're looking out for me, really. But you get that
Maybe
trend
a little
of,
above.
yeah, maybe, you know, are we working out on the 4th of July? Are we doing this and that? It's not like, hey, I really hope that we can work out on the 4th of July, you know. Are you working that day? I'm not trying to make you work or anything, but that'd be great. Like showing the excitement.
I'm just going to simplify it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never once seen anything get in the way of a heroin addict and his heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Right.
Going to freaking jail, going to prison, being arrested, freaking being on the streets, being in any situation. I've never once seen a heroin addict let anything get in the way of him getting high.
Yeah.
So why is this different?
Well, I guess it's not.
Is it?
I don't know. The withdrawal might not be as bad from taking a day off of working out as it would be taking a day off of heroin.
You
But
gotta keep consistent till it gets to a point where it hurts more not to do the workout than it does to do it. Where you're gonna be more upset with yourself that you missed it, and more in your head that you cheated on your regimen or did this than to actually be uncomfortable and do the workout or eat clean and be a little hungry or whatever.
right.
You got to stick with it long enough till you connect it. It feels good. There will be a point where you connect it. It feels good.
Right.
If you stay with it. Most of society, it's a chore to them, and they don't stick with it long enough to make that connection that this gives me a buzz, a positive feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you gotta want it. You gotta want it to feel good too. Some people I think are just kind of miserable people in a way, and they've already decided from the start that they're never going to allow this thing to be like, working out. It's
a chore.
It's a chore. It's going to stay a chore. It's never going to be fun. This and that. I mean, people do. Listen, I know
most people, dude.
Yeah, I guess
the
so.
Majority.
Yeah.
Very few are like us, dude. There's not. Listen, man. When we get together, it's Saturday, High Stim Saturday. We take some pre-workout. We put our heart and soul into. There's not 1 second where I'm thinking, man, this is hard work. It just feels good. It's like I can't wait till.
There are days where I'll have lower energy than others.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but regardless of if I have low energy or not, I have never called off of a High Stim Saturday because I'm too tired.
No.
You know.
No.
And even, you know what, sometimes you are tired even after taking a stim because you're drained, but it wouldn't stop me from continuing my regimen because that's just what I do.
No, I always tell people pre-workouts they work when you're already well rested and you're going into it feeling good. When you're dead tired and you're feeling like junk, yeah, maybe a pre-workout will make you feel good, but a lot of the time you just feel tired and stimmed up now.
But you're going to do it.
Yeah, but you're going to do it. Yeah. Exactly.
I've also realized through my years of training that not everybody's going to support you. who's in your life. You know, even the most important people in your life, sometimes they just might not understand a particular aspect of it, even though they love you, even though they do care about you. There's kind of sometimes a lack of understanding, a lack of support in a way, and you shouldn't. And I guess where I'm going with that is, you still shouldn't let that stop you from doing what you know is important for you.
All right, that's a big point. Let's talk about that. So is that something you've dealt with?
For sure. It's gotten, you know, I think through the years of my showing of love of the thing that I'm doing, or showing my consistency and showing that it is something that's really important to me, there's been more like acceptance, more offering of support, but there's only sometimes there's a certain threshold that can get up to, you know. So I think some people become your cheerleaders, and some people are just like, sometimes they're there to almost it seems like tolerate it, and then some show interest, some don't. All I'm saying with that is, even if the loved ones around you don't show major interest in something that you truly love, don't let that stop you from doing it. And also try to be understanding about them, you know, not necessarily loving the thing because they just don't understand it a lot of the time.
I've always been in a weird place with this, because like let's say I'll get invited to an event. Like everyone on my channel knows that I eat spot on clean Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday night. I've just done it for years. It's worked. I've never fallen off from it. It's great. Yada yada. There's been a lot of times throughout these 10 years of sobriety where I've been invited to something unexpected during the week. Okay? And I get in this weird place where I'm trying to balance between I'll be in my head for like 2 weeks up to the event. Like, how am I going to get away with not eating dirty that night? It'll consume me. You know, I live in my head about it. Like, what excuse can I make to not go to this event? Or can I go to this event and make up for it with some cardio? Whatever it is, my head will go freaking nuts, you know, because it's like untreated at that point. You know, it's like, I need to pray and meditate and like get close to God, because my head's just going crazy. And then this other side of it, it's like, but shouldn't I be a little less regimented and enjoy the time with the family and things? So there's always this like two things pulling at me, like which is more important, to stay regimented and not live in fear and tell my family like, I'll go to that event, but I'm not eating, and then worry about their disappointment and they're judging me, because is that in my head? Are they really disappointed and judging me? And then this other side of, Ari, why is your freaking head going crazy? You should go and enjoy yourself and freaking eat.
Well, also, you know, this isn't like the beginning of your journey here with lifting, which logically, it doesn't quite strike us necessarily. We're obsessive people. But we've earned, in a lot of ways, if we're thinking about talking to our friend who has the same, you know, journey as we did, I think we'd be kinder to our friend than we are to us, saying like, yeah, man, I understand it's a Thursday, but go out. Your family wants you there. Like, you look good. It's not going to take you away from everything.
Right.
But it's a lot harder for us to get that in our head.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's crazy up there, man.
Now, there is something to be said about allowing yourself more leeway now, a little bit, than in the beginning of trying to start something.
That's true.
And a lot of times here, like, I'm almost picturing talking to the newcomer, right? The person who's just trying to get on. And I think you have to set those boundaries and set those limits and be really strict with yourself in order to get into a groove before you can give yourself a bunch of slack. Because you see what happens when you give yourself some slack in the beginning of this journey, you end up never finding your rhythm. And so you got to get in the zone and find your rhythm. And then with time, when you feel like you've earned it, and maybe that comes with creating those small goals for yourself. Oh, when I hit this weight, when I, in this size in a pant, whatever, then I'll allow myself to do this. Creating those small goals along the way so that you have a reward to look forward to after.
I'll say this. I think being true to ourselves is the most important thing possible. So if I'm going to go out on a Wednesday
Yeah.
and eat dirty,
Right.
it better be because I want to enjoy the family time and not because I'm scared to say no. If I'm doing it because I'm terrified in my head to say no, that's not being true to myself.
Right.
And then I'll create a resentment, either at myself or the person asking me to go. That's not, I don't want to go eat under those terms because I'm scared to say no.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if I can allow myself to enjoy it and say, you know what, man, life is short. Go out, eat with your dad, on Wednesday, and it's a good time, and I'm being true to myself, then that's a good motive.
And maybe that's the time in which you can, have a talk with your dad or whoever it is in your life and say, listen, I'm out here. I'm really glad that you invited me here. Going forward for a little while, I'm not going to want to accept these invitations because I'm really trying to do something here with myself. This is more than just this is more to me than just eating clean during the week for 1 week. This is something that I'm trying to do on a really consistent level.
This is like part of my sobriety and my life, and this is me. But now it's like 10 years later, they just know what we do.
Exactly what I'm saying.
It's like they just know. They don't even ask anymore.
Tolerance is built, and I'm glad it has, because it wouldn't be any better for them if they were still, kind of, I'm not saying in denial, that's not right, not supportive. It would almost be harder to not be supportive because it would lead to grit. It would lead to, just head to head. And they want, and I love that they want us in their lives, our family, let's say, and we want them in ours, and we want to be part of it. So for us to make changes, there have been many holiday dinners where I'm close to competing that I end up bringing my own food, or I have to sit out of the meal, but I will sit at the table. I am not going to make myself, a hermit and hide at home. I am going to make sure that even if I'm not eating, that I'm going to put on a happy face the best that I can, even though internally there might be a little bit of irritation or whatever, but I'm not going to make other people suffer because of the decisions that I make for myself. That wouldn't be fair, and that wouldn't be right. So a lot of people do that. They make it all about them. Oh, that I'm dieting. Why you have that food around? It's like, because they don't have the same goals as you.
Oh, well, that's the same. That would be like me getting sober and asking everyone not to have alcohol in the house. That's I've never since I was first sober 10 years ago, never once asked anybody not to have alcohol around me. I've never thought that was right. But not everyone has to change what they're doing because I changed.
Yeah. Now, if they want to, because they want to be really extra supportive,
that's on them. But I'm going to make a point that they don't have to do that.
Exactly.
And that there's no triggers for me, and that's not necessary. And I'm protected by God. And it's just funny how things change. Most of society, people judge people because they eat like junk and stuff, and I'm in my head that I get judged because I eat too clean. It's just kind of funny how the tables turn. When you live a super clean, like over the top life like that compared to most.
No doubt. Yep. Yeah. Do you have anything? I mean, I've been listing some things that I've learned, which I think are probably things that we both have. But anything that you can think of that might be a change in your thinking through the years?
Through the years, I always found that I've first of all, I used to go to the gym and hit abs every day, and I don't think that I think I found ways to be more efficient. I'm trying to not spin my wheels as much, and chances are it's not doing anything more. If anything, takes it away.
Well, right. It's the same if you want to treat abs like another body part. You don't want to hit them every day, because then you're not giving them the chance to rest and grow. So,
right. Other things that I've learned is now this is just for me personally. I'm not saying this is where I really enjoyed splitting up my cardio and weight training.
Mhm.
That was something I learned a few years into training that I really liked because I can kind of just put my heart and soul into the iron pumping and not have like this feeling like, man, now I got to do cardio after,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
I'm getting like more movement throughout the day too, spread out. I really enjoyed that, you know,
No doubt.
splitting it up. I don't know if
Oh, something related to cardio that is definitely an important thing that I learned, and I probably didn't know this for years into my training, is that, you know what, people often assume that the harder you work, the better it is for you, in the sense of, let's say on cardio, the higher your heart rate, the more fat you're going to burn, and that's not necessarily true. A lot of times, the higher your heart rate, the more your body goes into kind of a defense mode, and it's going to eat at the muscle a little bit. Now, a lot of people get scared of cardio altogether, which I think is just total silliness. When people just don't do cardio because they're
are
saying,
they scared
I
or
don't
they
wanna,
just
well,
don't like it?
well, right, exactly. It's like which one's the real deal here. Most of the time, it's just they don't want to put it in their regimen. Cardio is great for the heart, and we're not going to get around that. But if you do a steady state or a lower, keep your heart rate at a lower rate, you're going to be burning fat and not tap into that muscle. And that was like wild for me to hear, because it almost
All that hit and craziness.
it almost gave
and
me
stuff.
permission to do less than I used to do,
Yeah.
and it felt good. So
You save it for the strength training.
you save it for the strength training.
Yeah. The
And-
cardio is good because it works your heart and lungs, like you said.
Oh, and it gets you
It's good
high.
it's good for your head.
Yeah.
And I think it helps with like I just like how it feels. It helps get some of that excess
Mhm.
water out, and it's just good to do. But it's never been. I don't know about never, but it's certainly not my reliance for fat loss or for getting shredded.
No.
It's not
No.
my reliance.
Diet is going to be
It's
that
all.
for me.
I look at cardio. It's all icing on the cake.
That's supplementation, essentially. It's
right.
like that added thing.
It's all icing on the cake for
Yeah.
me because I enjoy it. It feels good, and it helps a little when you're that dialed in. But you know, you got to think about you're burning 300 calories. What that looks like on a plate of food, of a dirty food. It's nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, there is something to be said about how it helps your metabolism throughout
Sure.
the rest of the day,
Yeah.
which they say that weight training actually does a better job of that. But both do the job, and the undeniable truth is that both feel really good.
I've always loved
Yes.
cardio.
Yeah, I do
I've
too.
never been shy away from it. I just like
Right.
doing it. It feels good.
Now, I used to be, into the running. It beats me up too much. I've stuck to the Stairmaster now because that just
Yeah.
makes me feel good without the residual,
Yeah.
knee tightness or quad tightness and things like that. Cardio is big, and I don't think anybody should be skipping it.
No, heck
you
no.
know.
I like because your conditioning, it keeps your wind up. It
Mhm.
helps. All of it goes together.
Yeah.
And I like switching my cardio sources. I swim every
Mhm.
week. I hit the steer mill. I'm biking tonight. I bike tonight. Like I think it's just
Yeah.
get it. All the different workouts, just different kind of buzz. They all feel good and.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. Being efficient is important,
Mhm.
And what do you do? 5 cardio sessions a week, or more?
I do 5.
Yeah, I do 5 too.
I do 5. Yeah, same as you, really, 35 minutes or so. And I always check, I just enjoy checking my heart rate out, seeing how many calories it claims I burned. I just like the consistency of that.
Now, why do you do the bro split?
Because it helps me, well, as you said, efficiency, right? It's like hitting one thing a week in a timely manner. So with that particular split, I'm able to hit each workout in about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm hitting everything once a week, and I'm getting a good amount of volume per body part. So as you know, and I don't know how many people that are watching know, chest, back, shoulders, biceps and triceps, and then legs.
I mean, we hit
So
an
that's that
insane
5-day
amount of
split.
sets
And
compared
we
to
hit
most
a lot
people.
Of sets. We hit a lot of sets. and
We
don't-
go freaking. We people hear how many sets we hit, and they're like, "That's freaking crazy, man! You
Yeah.
guys freaking hit it." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't even really rest between them."
And
you
if we
know?
listen, there's the truth of the matter is that if we rested more and did less sets, we would probably build up the amount of weight that we do in particular exercises.
Sure.
That would be probably what happens as a result. But I'm happy with the progress that I've made. I do continue to build in certain areas, especially legs lately. I've been ramping up on. So there is room for growth.
So our training is more intense than probably
Yeah.
more intensity as far as the.
Yeah, we've got
moving.
Listen, the fact of the matter is we have pretty decent size,
Yeah.
and that's noticeable. We would have larger size and more strength if we did less sets, gave a little more rest in between, and focused more on raising the weight. But I like what we do. I love what we do because it keeps our heart rates up. It keeps us in a zone where we're very focused and hungry and wanting to get to that next thing. And we listen to ourselves with that.
You
I
ever
think
see
it's great.
yourself changing to a split, another split?
I don't have a
trying.
plan to. That's not to say that I can't see it happening. As we said, I'm open to it.
Like once in a while,
Man,
I'm like,
it would take a
if I
minute to
hit
get
some
used to.
freaking, yeah, it would. It's been a long
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and I've done a lot of the splits. Like I've done the shoulders and arms together,
Mhm.
which gave crazy pump. I gave chest and back,
Right.
legs.
Thinking about doing those together, man, it's like, what would that be, a 3-hour workout? It's just like, it sounds like it would be so much.
Well, we did less
but
sets.
we would do less sets, exactly.
Yeah. I did like
Exactly.
16 for chest. And
Yeah.
I remember, I think, 16 shoulders and then 12 and 12 for bis and tris or
Right.
something. I was supersetting bis and tris.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably an hour workout.
Yeah.
I mean, but, sometimes I think about, I'm like, man, if I did like a chest and tricep day, like I'd have a crazy pump. Like I haven't, just an insane pump. Like some of that
Yeah.
stuff's fun, but it's easy too with you to coordinate since we do one muscle group for High Stim Saturday. It's
Right.
like it would be a headache, to be like, what split are we doing or whatever.
Right.
Kind of.
No, the way we have it coordinated works pretty well. That's not to say it can't change, but for right now, I guess the fact of the matter is, for right now, I like what I'm seeing in the sense of my body.
I don't think you need
And
to
if I
hit
want to
each
change,
muscle more
and
than
I've
once
seen
a
that
week.
if I want to make changes in anything in my regimen, the biggest changes that I make, and I think it's true for you too, is going to be diet-wise. If we want to tighten up more, if we want to bulk up more,
Yeah.
that's the change in the diet, not in the working out. I think that's been
Yeah.
a bigger factor, right? So when I wanted to, train for a competition or a photo shoot, the working out stays the exact same. It's actually insane. The working out doesn't tweak at all. The diet tweaks.
Yeah, for me, the biggest challenge has been not the shredding part, because I stay tight all year. It's been in those, like, when out like in the winter and the fall, allowing myself to raise the amount of food I eat more and stay out of my head about it, and eating those clean calories. And I always feel better when I do. I always just feel
It's a mood elevator.
I'm in a better mood. My drive, my workouts, everything. I feel well rested more. I feel everything just feels like it's thanking me when I allow myself to stay out of my head and just eat more of those, like 3,000 calories a day or something. Not freaking not insane like 6,000 or some drugged out bodybuilder, but like a good clean 3,000 calories is still enough to still maintain a nice tight look.
Yeah.
And just your body thanks you. And staying out of my head for those months and being a little less tight, it's the hardest thing.
Yeah. So I think that, I'm sure that if I sat down and really thought about all the things that I've learned and have changed my thinking on, throughout the years that I could come up with a big list, but those were the main ones, and I think those are the universal ones that people can kind of use and kind of not have to go through some of the. I mean, everybody's got to go through the journey and learn for themselves, but if there's a way that they can, pass a few years and kind of cut to the front of the line on some of these, then I hope that
Yeah, the
can
thing
be
about
helpful.
the internet is you can freaking find anything to justify your actions. You can find any science.
Remember that monkey who sniffed his butt and fell off the tree?
Yeah.
You could find a lot of things on the internet.
That was true. Oh, yeah, you can find a lot on the internet. Yeah, that
Yeah,
monkey's out there still. But,
that monkey was the originator. I think he invented the internet, that monkey.
he was on the World Wide Web.
The
It's
www.
different. Yeah. You can justify your way into anything.
Yeah.
If you want to do something and you have your mind set on it, you can find some science or article or experience that will support your behavior. So you better stay off that dang too much research.
Yeah.
Does not help. I mean, science is science, whatever. Okay,
Well, science is continually changing,
Right.
and so one thing that is a fact today, whatever that means, is not necessarily going to be the same next year.
Correct.
It's just things evolve and things change.
Correct.
And we have to be open to that. And
I was
accepting
taught. There's so many little things that I was taught when I first started by certain people that were just like, your body can't handle more than 40 grams of protein at a time.
Right.
It's like, oh really, my body has some counter where it gets to 40 and then it turns to fat. Like there's so much BS that people just say, and like I had to learn that like fats don't make you fat. Good fats, good healthy fats are great for your hormones. Like, dude, I'm going to tell you guys this might sound crazy. It took me 9 years to get into eating eggs. That's like crazy for a bodybuilder.
Right.
And I love them now because I know how to make them, and I like making omelets and all that. But I never, like, I'm always trying to introduce new stuff and allow myself to evolve.
And hopefully progress. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap.
What do you guys think, man? Hit us with the comments. Hit us with the like button. Let us know your thoughts. Always open for topics. Be part of the conversation. Let us know the stuff that you, what are we talking about? That you once thought that no longer serves you.
Yeah.
Or is that what it is?
How you've evolved your thinking.
How you've evolved. What you used to think and what you've grown from. I want to know in the comments. Appreciate you being here. God bless all you. Maniaco Podcast episode 2, baby.
Peace.
We're out.